such as seizure activity, a sleep-related
Sleepwalking
breathing disorder, or even leg movements that were causing the person to awaken and triggering off an attack.
Dr. Kushida could find no physiological causes for Heidi's sleepwalking, but he was able to pinpoint what is likely to trigger an episode.
There's a lot of different triggers. One of them is sleep deprivation. Secondly, stress can also increase the chance that the person might have sleepwalking.
Both Heidi Ruiz and Jared Allgood fit that pattern. Their sleepwalking flared up under heavy emotional pressure and lack of sleep. Heidi now has her sleepwalking condition under control through medication and careful stress management.
Unfortunately, a lot of sleep is still a mystery, a big mystery in terms of a lot of the causes of these sleep disorders, but it's something that we're all trying to really work hard on.
The world of sleep and dreams has been the subject of extensive research. But after decades of testing, scientists are still left with more questions than answers. If you or someone you know is suffering from a serious sleep disorder, it should not be ignored. Please consult a doctor. Next, a missing persons investigator searches for her own father, who disappeared more than 60 years ago.
Mom?
We're in here.
What happened?
Well, Mr. Do-It-Yourself here was up on the ladder, cleaning the gutters, and he slipped coming down.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. It was just a sprain.
But you could have been really hurt.
Which is what the doctor told him. So we've been talking about life insurance.
I thought you already had coverage.
With our budget and health history, it hasn't been an option.
But we did just hear about something called final expense whole life insurance.
I've heard of this. I've also heard you can't be turned down for health reasons.
But applying for life insurance can be so difficult.
My friend Sarah's mom just got this policy from MetLife. There were no medical questions or exams, and it was affordable.
I would feel better if your mom was protected.
Final expense whole life insurance from MetLife is affordable life insurance that can be used to help cover expenses such as funeral costs, credit card debt, and medical bills. It can ease financial burdens and help protect your spouse or loved ones. If you're age 45 to 75, call MetLife today to learn more. Policies range from $2,500 to $20,000, and premiums start at $10 per month. Applying for coverage can be done in a single phone call. We also offer a variety of payment options, and you cannot be turned down for health reasons. There are no medical questions and no medical exams. When the time comes, benefits are paid quickly. It's time to check this important thing off your list, so call MetLife today. Simple, easy, affordable coverage from a company you know. Make the call today and get your policy right over the phone. If you thought you couldn't get life insurance, now you can. With affordable premiums and guaranteed qualification, final expense whole life insurance could be what you've been looking for.
Why don't we call right now?
Get the protection you deserve. Call MetLife at 1-877-473-7911 to learn more. That's 1-877-473-7911. 1-877-473-7911.
I was an alcoholic.
I was addicted to Oxycontin. I was a heroin addict.
I was addicted to crack.
Over 23 million Americans suffer from addiction. It's a disease that destroys lives, relationships, and careers, and it's now causing more deaths than auto accidents. It doesn't just go away on its own, but it is treatable. Get help. Get help now. Call the Addiction Advisor. They are there for you 24 hours a day. Get the help you need. The call is free and so is the service. Call the Addiction Advisor now.
Let the Addiction Advisor connect you to a treatment provider that can do an assessment by phone and even verify your insurance benefits. There is no charge or obligation for this service.
Call the Addiction Advisor at 888-714-5053. That's 888-714-5053.
September of 1945, World War II is over. The heroes are finally coming home. Arlington, Virginia. Lieutenant Ray Hickinbotham settled down with his wife Dorothy and 3-year-old daughter Carol. A decorated war hero, Ray was assigned to Army intelligence.
My memory was one of a kind of magical summer. It was the first time I had a dad at home and my mom there. There was just a lot of fun, a lot of time for the family to be together.
I got you.
The base housed a top-secret radio operation. Ray may have been part of a select group of expert code breakers. His assignment, monitoring radio communications from behind the Iron Curtain. The Cold War had begun.
It's a good ulcer job. You're sitting at a desk, you're not mobile, you can't get up. I've seen them scream sometimes in just physical frustration. Yeah, and it's just, trying to ventilate their frustration while they continue plodding away with this boring but potentially incredibly fascinating job.
I think I've got something.
In less than a year, Ray and his group would be absorbed into the newly created Central Intelligence Agency.
Where's Daddy?
Sweetie.
Ray was working long hours and spending little time with his family.
Be back to pick me up at 3.
In the summer of 1947, Ray was transferred to another top-secret group. He did not tell Dorothy about the new assignment.
Watch what I can do. My mother was worried because he seemed so tired and so uptight. He became very tense, and it became worse. It just got worse and worse.
Late that summer, Dorothy took Carol to Long Island for a 2-week visit with her grandparents. When Dorothy tried to phone Ray, she was given the surprising news that he had gone on leave. Then she learned that the military had, without explanation, hired a moving crew to clean out their apartment. 2 weeks later, a moving van showed up at Dorothy's parents' home. In the boxes and trunks, there was not one single item belonging to Ray.
No pictures, no letters, no writing, nothing. It was as though he had been purged from our lives, as though he was completely gone and wiped out. My mother just didn't know what to make of it.
A month went by, and then a man claiming to be from the Army visited Dorothy with shocking news.
This is all I know. On October 14th, 1947, he was listed as AWOL. 30 days later, he was dropped from the military rolls and classified as a deserter.
As a result, Dorothy and Carol lost all of their military benefits. Dorothy later tried to get in touch with the mysterious visitor. The Army said they had never heard of him.
My mother was alone. She was frightened, and she was afraid something terrible had happened to my father. Perhaps he'd gone overseas and been killed in the line of duty. She could not comprehend that he would just disappear. She really thought the government was withholding information from her.
It is absolutely not total paranoia to wonder if the CIA or another intelligence branch had something to do with his disappearance. I can think of a half-dozen cases where people, there were weird things like that happened, where the family was not told the truth and the loved one did disappear or died and they weren't told how they died.
Ray was labeled a deserter and was disgraced. Carol and her mother struggled to make ends meet. Carol grew up, married, and moved to Oklahoma. She became a private investigator specializing in reuniting families. But she never gave up the search for her own father.
As I looked through the material that I received, I began to get a picture of someone very special, someone very highly trained, someone who had performed at the top level, and I came to believe that this was a man who would not just disappear.
After years of butting heads with government bureaucracy, Carol finally went to the media. An article about her missing father appeared in the local Arlington newspaper. 3 hours later, she received a phone call.
Hello?
The caller identified himself by a code name, Archangel. He was using a mobile phone and would not reveal his exact location.
He said that my article had really rattled cages at the CIA and that it had really shook people up. Those were his words.
Now listen carefully. I've got to give you some background. There had been sensitive leaks in the atomic energy area, and your dad was investigating those leaks. In August of '47, an attempt was made on his life. His superior decided to bury your father. It was easier to drop out 20 years ago. Things were different.
The man told Carol that her father was not a deserter. Ray's life had been in danger, so a paper trail was created to cover his disappearance.
The whole time he was a few miles from our...
Archangel revealed the astonishing news that for nearly a year, Ray had lived only 3 miles away from Carol and her mother. He had been hidden by the government in the suburbs of Washington, D.C.
Where is he now?
Your father is still alive.
His name is Nelson. He lives in a NATO country where there are high mountains,
Crystal clear lakes, and a long-time democracy. That's all I can say.
When I hung up the phone, I felt very drained. Maybe he was a jokester or a con artist. Maybe he was going to call back and want money. I just didn't know what to believe. But there was a part of me that kept saying, my dad's alive. There's a chance.
Carol never heard from the mysterious caller again. But she and her son Ian have never stopped trying to decipher Archangel's clues.
It's crystal clear lakes. It is possible that my father chose to follow his career, and that was what he wanted above all else, including myself and our family. And that's very painful. I have compassion for a young man who may have made a wrong choice. We all make wrong choices, and I want my father to know that we love him and that it's forgotten. We just want the pain of not having him to end.
Carol hopes to someday reunite with her father, or at least clear him of the charge that he's a deserter. If you have any information about this case, please log on to our website at unsolved.com. Next, the incredible story of a supernatural force that is terrorizing an entire family.
When Bob got to the accident, I was terrified. His injuries were so severe, but once we knew he was going to be okay, what then?
I couldn't go back to work for a long time, and we got way behind on our bills.
We'd hired an attorney, but when our case kept dragging on, we didn't know how we were going to get by. Thankfully, our attorney knew about Oasis Legal Finance.
Oasis looked at our case and got us the money the very next day.
What a relief it was. We didn't have to wait until our case settled, and the money from Oasis helped us when we needed it most.
At first I wasn't so sure. What if we lost the case? How would we be able to pay back Oasis? But then I found out if we did lose, we wouldn't have to pay them back, so there was no risk in doing it. No risk.
If you're involved in an accident and hired an attorney to fight for the compensation you deserve but need money now before your case settles, then call Oasis today. Oasis has given millions of dollars to people like you who need money fast while waiting for their case to settle. There's no risk, so call now.
I was hurt badly in a car accident just after my wife gave birth. We were counting on the cash from my lawsuit to get caught up, but the case took forever.
Honestly, we didn't know what we were going to do. Then we saw an Oasis TV commercial and called. We were approved and got money from Oasis the next day.
Not in a week, the very next day.
I was hurt at work and filed a workers' comp claim. I called Oasis and they gave me the cash I needed. Unfortunately, I ended up losing my case, but Oasis let us keep the money. They kept their promise, and we didn't need to pay them back.
There are no out-of-pocket costs and no payments until your case is settled. If you lose your case, you don't have to repay Oasis. There's no risk. Call Oasis now to see how much money you can get before your case settles.
Call now. 1-800-490-0049. 1-800-490-0049. 1-800-490-0049.
Ladies, what's the trending new secret to a perfect hourglass shape? Celebrities and fashion models are tweeting all about it. It's waist training. And now it's as easy as 1, 2, 1, 2. Your perfect body in seconds with the Genie Hourglass. The amazing waist training belt that instantly shapes, slims, and trains your waist for a perfect hourglass shape.
I love the Genie Hourglass the most. I can wear it underneath my clothes, I can wear it when I'm working out, and it really works.
The secret is Genie's double compression waist training technology. 1, fasten the compression shaper. 2, adjust the slimming waist training bands. Hides your belly, shapes your waist, supports your back, improves your posture, slims your waist for the perfect hourglass shape.
Baby body, gone.
All it takes is 2 steps to look 2 sizes smaller.
I can wear clothes that I haven't worn in years, from plus to perfect.
Wear it over or under your clothes, at the gym, around the house, work, or a special night out. Everyone will notice, but no one will know your secret. Plus, your Genie Hourglass is totally adjustable. You can loosen it or tighten it to define your figure even more. Take the tape measure test and love the difference. Genie Hourglass will hide a boring baby body and give you a look that's slim, shapely, and sexy. Your perfect body in seconds. Forget about shapewear that squishes and squeezes and can cost over $100. Call or go online now and order your Genie Hourglass waist belt in black for only $19.99. But wait, you can double your order and add another to nude. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's 2 Genie Hourglass waist belts for only $19.99. Order now.
To order the Genie Hourglass, call 1-800-407-0776 or log on to geniehourglass.com.
For most of us, haunted houses are the places we visit on Halloween. We scream, we jump, we laugh, and then we go home. But in Ohio, a family has to deal with the horrifying fact that for them, home is a haunted house.
Okay. Got it? Yeah, you first.
A newly married couple, we'll call them Joe and Mary Smith, thought they were moving into their dream home. But when Mary was pregnant with their first child, they got a warning that something was wrong.
It really worried me because it sounded much more than a mouse or a raccoon or something. Sort of like grating noises and things being dragged, so to speak.
Mary called her father, a police detective. He approached the attic expecting a burglar.
Sweetheart, take a look at this.
The attic was a disaster zone. Blankets pulled out, boxes of Christmas ornaments dumped, childhood trinkets broken. Yet there was no sign of an intruder. The attic had been sealed tight.
At that point, I just shivered, kind of like with fear, because something was there that I didn't know about, and I didn't particularly care for that feeling at all.
Doorknobs turned on their own, and the strange noises continued. Mary soon learned that the house had a disturbing past.
We hold hands till we get back.
The previous owners had reportedly adopted a little boy. One day, he just mysteriously vanished, and to this day, no one knows what happened to him. Mary suspected that that boy might be linked to the hauntings. One night, when her own son was almost the same age as the missing child, Mary says that he let out a blood-curdling scream.
It just was a very tormented type of a cry. That's what I heard in his voice, was that horrible fear.
What do you see, honey?
Mary had no idea what upset her son until he happened to visit his grandmother a few weeks later.
I thought, what happened? He says, Grandma, I want to go home. I'm not never coming back here again. I said, why? Why? Why aren't you coming back? He says, no, there's devil. I thought, what is he talking about?
What? A ghetto. What are you saying? A ghetto. Devil?
The child was pointing at a religious painting of St. Michael the Archangel trampling Satan underfoot. The little boy later told his mother it was the same devil he had seen in his bedroom. Mary and her husband considered moving many times, but they had too much invested in the house. Finally, Mary discovered what she now believes is the key to the disturbing events.
Now we've had a nice walk. No. We hold hands till we get back.
The little boy who once lived there had apparently died under mysterious circumstances.
In the kitchen.
And he was buried somewhere on the property.
It just was creepy. I perhaps thought there might be a connection. In fact, it wasn't a might be. I was very concerned that there probably was a connection.
When most people think of a haunted house, they think of spirits of the dead. But in most cases, houses that are haunted genuinely appear to be haunted by some type of an energy force.
At our request, Dr. Nichols and two colleagues investigated Mary's home.
We conducted a series of energy field scans throughout the house to try to establish a baseline energy field reading. Electromagnetic, electric, magnetic fields, microwave fields, to try to determine if there are any unusual energy fields present in the house.
In one of the bedrooms, they found a strong electromagnetic field that surrounded a dresser left behind by previous owners.
One of the suggestions that I made to the family was that they remove the dresser at least from the bedroom and preferably from the house temporarily and see if it has an effect on the haunting phenomena that they're experiencing.
The parapsychologists found even stronger readings in the basement, where an abandoned well ran deep down to an underground lake.
We find many houses that are haunted are located over sources of underground water. And so there does seem to be a correlation. This may conduct some form of psychic energy. It may conduct some form of natural earth-based magnetic fields that stimulates a person's psychic abilities. People ask us frequently, do we believe in ghosts? And the answer is yes. There's no question that people experience ghosts. But what are they? Are they actually spirits of the dead? Are they some type of entities from another dimension? Or are they some strange artifact of the human psyche? Unfortunately, those are questions which, for now, remain an unsolved mystery.
Next, a young boy whose mother was murdered is the key to catching her killer.
Tonight on Escape, real-life crimes.
He was shot in the back.
Anybody that can just do that has to have something wrong.
Real-life cases.
He had been bound with wire and duct tape. He was beaten to death.
Real-life killers.
She was going to seek revenge.
She's saying, I'm not finished yet. Love does bad things.
In 4 back-to-back episodes, someone goes over the edge.
If she couldn't have him, nobody could.
A snapped marathon starts tonight at 9, 8 central on the new Escape Slip Away.
Do you own a home or a condo? Then it's time you learn about American Residential Warranty.
Hi, I'm Anthony Sullivan.
And I'm Michelle Edmonds.
And we're here with important information for every homeowner.
Did you know home appliance and major system breakdowns cost homeowners an average of $1,700 per year in repairs and replacements?
American Residential Warranty can help cover those costs with home service plans starting at less than $1 a day.
For most covered repairs, you simply pay a small service fee, and American Residential Warranty will take care of the rest.
including parts and labor.
American Residential Warranty replaced my dishwasher with a brand new one, and I only paid a small service fee.
I woke up on a Saturday morning, there was no hot water in the shower. So I called American Residential Warranty. They sent a repairman to fix the problem the same day.
Plan options include coverage for central air, heat, and ductwork.
Interior electrical systems and plumbing.
Major kitchen appliances.
Water heaters.
Washers and dryers.
Garage door openers.
Ceiling fans and more.
Even pools and spas.
American Residential Warranty gives you security and peace of mind with plans starting at less than $1 per day. And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee on any plan.
Call now or go to getahomeplan.com to learn how you can get 2 free months.
And for a limited time, you can get a home security system valued at $850 free with any plan.
You can call American Residential Warranty 24 hours a day.
Their customer service is incredible. When my air conditioning was broken, they came out and my AC was fixed the same day I called.
You can save money with a home service plan from American Residential Warranty.
Call now. There's no obligation. But hurry, if you wait until you need a home service repair,
it'll be too late.
Call 1-800-322-6612 to find out which home warranty plan is right for you. That's 1-800-322-6612. Call now.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
It was a summer day in Vancouver, Washington.
Let me get the coat up. You gonna have fun with Daddy this weekend?
5-year-old Dustin Johnson was waiting for his father to pick him up for a custody visit. Dustin didn't know it, but he was saying goodbye to his mother for the last time.
Give me a kiss. I love you. I love you. Here's your bag.
Remember my mom getting me ready to go with my dad. She gave me a hug and a kiss goodbye and told me she'd see me when I come back. But then I come back and Mom wasn't there.
That same weekend, Patricia Johnson was murdered. 9 days later, her naked, decomposing body was found. 2 weeks later, Patricia's own brother, Dennis Keith Smith, confessed to the crime. He was sentenced to life in prison on a charge of second-degree murder. Dustin moved in with his mother's parents. When Dennis Smith was paroled 10 years later, he came to live in the same house. Every day, Dustin Johnson had to face the man who killed his mother. And then another local woman mysteriously disappeared. Dustin became convinced that his uncle was somehow involved.
Your lunch is made.
Thanks, honey.
Dan and Carolyn Killaby lived just 3 miles from Dustin. They were planning an evening out.
We don't have the kids tonight, so why don't we just get together and have dinner and spend some time together?
Okay. All right.
It promised to be a romantic evening, just the two of them. But before Dan left work, his brother called and invited him to stop by.
We ended up going down to a tavern down the street. We had a beer and we started shooting some pool. Turned out there was a Blazer game on. We started watching that. We had a couple more beers. And I had decided just to stay behind at his place and chose not to drive home.
Dan didn't call home until 1 a.m.
Hi, Carolyn. It's me. Listen, I'm gonna stay at Dave's tonight. I had a few beers, so, you know, I better just stay here. We'll see you in the morning.
Sunday morning, Dan returned to an empty house. His message was still on the machine.
Carolyn!
He assumed that Carolyn was angry with him for not showing up. But by Sunday night, he began to worry.
Hello, Susan. Yeah, this is Dan.
Dan called everyone in his wife's phone book from A to Z. No one could account for Carolyn. Carolyn still hadn't shown up by 6 a.m. Monday when she was due at work. Dan and his brother cruised the streets of Vancouver looking for any sign of Carolyn. Finally, they found her car in a nightclub parking lot.
This is her car.
The morning barmaid was the gal that worked there Saturday night. And she said, yeah, I saw your wife. She was in Saturday night. That's the last time I saw her. So at that point, you know, panic set in. The car was there. My wife was nowhere to be found.
When Dustin Johnson read about Carolyn Killaby in the local newspaper, one fact jumped out.
I found a name by the name of Dennis in the newspaper, and I continued to read that the lady was missing, and I had this feeling that that person by the name of Dennis might be my uncle. This might be a weird conversation.
Dustin found Dan Killaby's number and called him.
Yeah?
I just was reading through there and found the name of Dennis. Do you know what Dennis's last name is?
He called me and said he saw the article, and if this Dennis that was mentioned in the article was in fact Dennis Keith Smith, that was his uncle, and he wanted to let me know that he had murdered his mother.
Authorities had not yet released the last name of the man seen with Carolyn. Dan asked detectives to check out Dustin's hunch.
But he said that he thinks that the man, Dennis, that you're looking for, his name is Dennis Smith, and he said that this guy is a murderer. Is that true?
There was a long pause from the detectives, and I knew right then it was the person. At that point in time, I think right then and there, I knew my wife had been killed. Right there.
The nightclub bartender helped police reconstruct what probably happened to Carolyn Killaby.
You can tell it on her face. She's been crying. She was alone. She didn't want to be with anybody. She's upset. If she would have one more drink, she would have been passed out, probably going to the hospital. She was really bad off.
She's trouble. Her? Oh, yeah.
Dennis Smith was a regular at the club. According to the bartender, Smith had been watching Carolyn all night long. At about 11:30, he made his move.
It's just the way he walked up to her is as if they was old friends. But she didn't know who she was with. He spoke to her for a few seconds. She lifted her head up. He had one arm around his neck and had a hold of it and walked out with her.
Detectives decided that it was time to have a little talk with Dennis Smith.
Who was it you talked to? As a bouncer. Okay, you said the waitress or bartender?
Yeah,
Which is it? It probably isn't both of them at this point, right? So
he would laugh at times for no real apparent reason, which is very indicative of someone that's trying to be deceitful.
You were in your truck for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
What happened?
Come on.
Come on, Dennis, we're all adults. What's going on? What happens?
She attacked me, so, you know, I'm winded and I'm pretty tired after that. And when did she attack me? And then I see this guy, and he's got like a stickness, you know.
Smith went on to claim that the stranger threatened him and then took Carolyn away. Detectives had a hard time believing that story. especially when they inspected Smith's pickup truck.
Oh man, that's more than a cigarette burn.
Yeah, it looks like he took a torch to it.
It wasn't just the gaping hole in the seat that aroused suspicion. The seat cover had been removed and every inch of carpeting had been stripped off the floor.
And at that point, basically, I knew that Dennis was hiding something from us. Maybe any evidence that Carolyn was in his truck or that something bad happened to her in the truck.
But there was no proof that Carolyn was actually dead, and suspicions alone weren't enough to keep Dennis Smith in custody. By the time police collected enough evidence, Smith left town. A warrant was put out for his arrest. Update. On the night of our broadcast, Tracy Holloman and John Cummings were watching the program with their new neighbor, Dave Sanborn.
He kind of started getting nervous, and they started describing the color of his tattoos that were on his arm. And I looked over and I said, "You have those color tattoos, you know?" And he asked me, "Is there anything else on?" He didn't want to watch the show. And I said, "No, I like the show, I'll watch it." And he, got out and went in the kitchen and he started pacing around.
Dave Sanborn, of course, turned out to be Dennis Keith Smith. He stole his neighbor's car, but police caught up with Smith 2 days later at this intersection.
He turned and charged the officers and a fight ensued. During the course of that fight, he attempted to remove the firearm from one of the officers, was beginning to successfully remove that firearm when the second officer fired a single shot, striking Mr. Smith in the neck.
Smith was also shot in the wrist during the struggle. After 2 weeks in a hospital, he recovered enough to appear in a Florida courtroom. Smith was extradited to Washington and tried on a charge of first-degree murder. He was found guilty and sentenced to 70 years behind bars. He also received an additional 99 years for violating parole. But the story of Dennis Keith Smith does not end here. While in prison, Smith hanged himself with a bedsheet attached to an air vent. He was 42 years old.
For over a decade, suspicious fires burned businesses and homes in Southern California. Arson was suspected, but there was little physical evidence. Investigators found an important piece of evidence in a novel that describes several fires strikingly similar to the real ones. How was it possible that the author knew information never revealed to the public? South Pasadena, California, a town of only 3 square miles, located just north of Hollywood. On the night of October 10th, 1984, most residents were getting ready to watch the San Diego Padres take on the Detroit Tigers in the World Series. Jim Upton, just 19 years old at the time, was working as a cashier at Ole's Home Center.
And I was like, why is it so quiet in here? I go, oh yeah, it's the World Series this evening. I was like thanking God that it was nice and quiet in the store.
Around 7 p.m., Upton heard an emergency announcement over the public address system. He went to investigate.
I was walking toward the front of the store, and I noticed a pillar of smoke, just a grayish-white pillar of smoke.
Ogden went to the hardware department and began to lead customers toward the front of the store.
I looked down one of the side aisles, even turned down the side aisle, and noticed at that point in time that there was just a wall of flames. I felt trapped, and I didn't know where to go from there.
Then the lights went out, and Ogden couldn't see the others. Everyone inside the store desperately tried to find a fire exit.
First unit to arrive at Ole's observed a column of smoke coming from the roof area. The chief in charge was not certain at that time what they had. He didn't realize the extent of the conflagration.
Within a very short period of time, the fire was a roaring inferno. Jim Ogden barely got out alive.
My ears were singed, the left arm was burned. As soon as I got out of the store, I still remember touching my arm and the skin just falling off of it.
4 others were not so fortunate.
He was trapped in there. He was dead. That's all we know.
Your son, your grandson, your...
My grandbaby. He would have been 3 in January.
Matthew Troidel was the youngest victim. His grandmother, Ada Deal, and 2 store employees, Jimmy Satina and Carolyn Krause, also perished. When the fire was extinguished, investigators searched through the rubble for clues.
Just in normal fire investigation, you have to first discover the area and point of origin. You can't find out what caused the fire unless you can find out where the fire started.
But investigators couldn't determine the origin.
When one goes to the scene of an arson fire, one finds essentially a pile of trash, 3 feet of water sometimes, and it's extremely hard to find the point of origin.
The official explanation was that the fire was accidental. But John Orr, arson investigator for the nearby Glendale Fire Department, strongly disagreed. He was at the fire and took these photos.
Within a day of the fire, John Orr met with Karen Berry, who was the sister-in-law of one of the victims of the fire, and he expressed his opinion that this, in fact, was an arson fire.
Orr believed the fire started in some patio cushions, which were made of polyurethane foam, a highly flammable petroleum byproduct. The debate didn't last long. Soon, there would be other fires. There was no doubt an arsonist was on the loose.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble.
Visit Honest.com now to get your free trial of Honest diapers and wipes. The Honest Company, we've got you covered.
Every inch of you is perfect from the bottom to the top.
Do you wrestle with those old-fashioned hoses that tangle and kink? Are they heavy and hard to store? It's time to get the new Top Brass Professional Pocket Hose. I'm Paul James, the gardener guy, and you need the new Top Brass Professional Pocket Hose. Now the best-selling expandable hose in the world has been completely re-engineered. Top Brass uses Dura-Rib technology to create a flexible endoskeleton inside your hose that expands and contracts, while the outer sleeve is tough like a fire hose, but soft to touch. You just can't kink this hose, even tie it in a knot. Just turn on the water, and it unties itself. Is that cool or what? And our industrial brass connectors seal tight and will not leak. Look, the other brands collapse under pressure, but Top Brass is so well made it crushed the competition. And Top Brass is the only expandable hose with a connector protector. We also increased the diameter to a full 3/4 inches for faster flow and much more power. Just turn on the water and Top Brass grows. Turn the water off, and away it goes. It's like it puts itself away. A Dura-Rib inner sleeve, a rugged outer sleeve, professional-grade connectors, a 3/4 inch diameter, the only one with a connector protector, and still so lightweight, anyone can use it. That's the Top Brass. It's the last hose you'll ever have to buy. Call and get your Top Brass Professional Pocket Hose today for just $19.99. There's more. You also get the Mighty Blaster Fireman's Nozzle. the only household sprayer with the power and precision of a real fireman's nozzle. Just twist for a misting spray, twist again for a powerful stream. You get it all, but you have to call.
Call 1-800-980-8331 to get your special offer, professional strength pocket hose top brass. Call now or go to pockethosetopbrass.com. So call 1-800-980-8331. That's 1-800-980-8331. Don't miss out. Call now.
Ending addiction starts with one private and no-obligation call. End Addiction can help you get immediate admission into a recovery center near you. Many insurance plans will pay up to $30,000 to get you help.
1-800-245-3951.
2 months after the fire at Ole's home center, there was another suspicious fire at a second Ole store. This time, there was no dispute. The cause was arson.
The fire was set in the foam padding section of the home products department.
And 90 miles away, there were several other suspicious fires in Bakersfield, California. One of the fires occurred at a Kraft Mart store. Arson investigator Marvin Casey arrived at the scene shortly after it was extinguished.
Craft Mart is where they sell different crafts. They sell foam rubber batting and dry vegetation for making floral arrangements.
And at this fire, investigators found their first real piece of evidence in a bin of dried flowers.
I looked in the bin and I saw a yellow-lined piece of paper that was used to conceal an incendiary device. It was readily recognizable because it had 3 matches that were wrapped around a cigarette butt, and it was attached with a rubber band.
The incendiary device burned slowly, allowing the arsonist time to make a getaway.
The burning cigarette will come down and it will ignite the sulfur on the end of the match head. You instantly have a going flame.
And there was another fire that same day in a nearby fabric store. That started in a bin holding pillows and foam rubber.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that you have a problem with a firebug on the loose.
There were other suspicious fires in Fresno and Tulare, cities north of Bakersfield. At one, investigators found an incendiary device identical to the one found at the Kraft Mart fire. When Casey reviewed the dates and times of these fires, he discovered a troubling coincidence. They all occurred along Highway 99 around the time a group of arson investigators met for their annual convention in Fresno.
So that just threw up a red flag in my mind, thinking that it could possibly be one of our own, setting fires.
Casey got the list of the 300 people who attended the conference and narrowed it down to 55 people based on where they lived in relation to the convention center.
What these 55 people had in common was that they had attended the conference, they had traveled alone, they had passed through Bakersfield down 99.
When Casey told his superiors that one of these 55 arson professionals was their serial arsonist, he was ignored.
I was an outcast. I was shunned for developing this theory of fire investigators setting fires.
Nobody that I know of believed that Casey was on to anything.
As a matter of fact, when I would attend the conventions, I couldn't talk to anybody about this theory very much because nobody would really want to listen. Nobody shared my idea with it.
But maybe they should have.
Hi, I'm Daisy Fuentes. People always comment on how great my hair looks. Well, you know what? I've got a secret. You can get up close, you can touch and feel it, and you'd never know. My secret? Secret extensions. The invisible hair extensions that give your hair a thick, natural-looking volume and length in seconds. It's more hair that's ready to wear. Just look at the instant difference Secret extensions make.
I can't believe this is my hair. It looks amazing.
Oh my gosh!
It looks so glamorous. Right? I love it. It looks amazing. It looks really awesome.
The secret is the revolutionary headband, which is completely invisible. Slip it on like a headband and pull your own hair over. It's adjustable, so it fits every head beautifully without any bumps or ridges. You get thicker, fuller, longer hair in seconds.
So it's like a headband. I just put it up. That's crazy. My hair's dramatically longer.
Secret extensions are made of an all-new keratin conditioned fiber that moves like, feels like, and looks like the real thing. And the best part is, Secret extensions are available in different colors to perfectly blend in to your hair.
It feels perfect. It feels like my actual hair. I cannot see where my hair ends. Love it, and it blends right in perfectly.
You can wash, trim, straighten, and curl your Secret extensions. Give yourself long, loose waves, a trendy fishtail braid, or a high-fashion pony instantly. Secret extensions are completely secure. You can trust them to stay put from busy days to crazy nights.
Hair extensions at the salon can cost as much as $500, but you can get your Secret extensions for just $39.99. But wait, for even more volume, we'll double your Secret extensions. Just pay separate processing and handling. Call or go online at secretextensions.com.
Call 1-800-729-0767.
The incendiary device from the Kraft Mart fire was sent to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms for analysis. It was a yellow piece of lined paper, folded neatly with a cigarette and some matches inside. ATF's fingerprint expert selected ninhydrin to look for possible prints.
Ninhydrin is a wet chemical that, when applied to the paper, actually reacts to the amino acids, which are part of what makes up the fingerprint residue.
It usually takes a day for the chemical to dry, but heating the circulating air speeds up the process. Miraculously, they found a partial print.
Fingerprints are referred to as just a chance impression. They may be there, they may not. So to find a fingerprint, especially to find one that was identifiable, the examiners as well as the investigators were very lucky in this case.
The color of the paper and the lines obscured the print. To bring out additional detail, criminalists photographed it with a special filter.
The filters would then enhance not only the print, but the ridge detail that makes up the pattern. And then also with the filters, it would eliminate any of the background color so that the pattern can be seen more clearly.
The print was entered into AFIS, the automated fingerprint identification system containing prints of convicted criminals. Unfortunately, the print did not match any in the database of known criminal offenders. Marvin Casey then asked the ATF to compare the print to the 55 individuals on his list of people who attended the arson convention near the fires, but that request was denied.
They felt like that was too many names to submit to the different departments to get their fingerprint cards to analyze.
Casey's investigation had come to a dead end. Then, 2 years later, there was another rash of store fires, this time in cities along Highway 101. When Casey examined the dates of the fires, he discovered that they also coincided with a nearby convention of arson investigators. And on that list of attendees were 10 individuals who had also attended the earlier arson conference.
I was quite excited. Now I felt like we have something we can work with.
He persuaded ATF to take these 10 names to their lab, surreptitiously obtain fingerprint impressions, and compare them to the print that he'd found, and could not come back with a positive finding.
But they could find no match. Casey couldn't believe it.
And I was kind of discouraged too, because I just felt like that we're going to get somewhere with these 10 names off of this list.
Another 2 years passed. Then the arsonist struck again in Los Angeles, setting fires in dozens of stores throughout the area and causing millions of dollars in damages. ATF Special Agent Mike Matassa headed the investigation.
The MO was to start fires in retail businesses, midday hours primarily during open business.
Matassa heard about Marvin Casey's controversial theory that these fires were started by an arson investigator. And he also learned about the fingerprint on the incendiary device. So Matassa asked the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office to analyze the print. They compared it to their fingerprint database of everyone who had ever applied there for a job. And they found a match.
I was blown away. Couldn't believe it.
The print matched the left ring finger of John Leonard Orr, an arson investigator with the Glendale, California Fire Department.
John Orr wanted to be a Los Angeles police officer for a long time. He applied in 1981. He passed all of the tests except one. It was the psychological test.
Orr then applied for a job with the Los Angeles Fire Department but failed the physical part of the training.
He wasn't in good enough shape, and that was a crushing disappointment in his life.
Eventually, he worked odd jobs until finally getting a job with the Glendale Fire Department.
It was the lowest paying fire department in the Los Angeles area, and he quickly rose through the ranks and became an arson investigator and eventually a captain.
Orr was one of the 10 people on Casey's list who had attended both arson conventions. The earlier fingerprint comparison had simply missed it. The print linked Orr to only one of the fires.
Rather than arrest him on one fire with minimal damage, who probably would have a very minimal sentence associated with it, we decided to investigate and try to tie him into all of the fires that had the same MO.
And for that, they turned to the latest in surveillance technology.
Tonight on Escape, real-life crimes.
He was shot in the back.
Anybody that can just do that has to have something wrong.
Real-life cases.
He had been bound with wire and duct tape. He was beaten to death.
Real-life killers.
She was going to seek revenge.
She's saying, I'm not finished yet. Love does bad things.
In 4 back-to-back episodes, someone goes over the edge.
If she couldn't have it, nobody could.
A snapped marathon starts tonight at 9, 8 Central on the new Escape. Slip Away.
When my apartment is a mess, my life just feels chaotic.
I'm busy. Cleaning is the last thing that I have time for.
My secret?
I use Handy.
Introducing Handy, the easy and convenient way to get your home cleaned by a trusted professional.
With Handy, everything's done online.
Just put the date and the time.
Hit book now, and then you're done.
I didn't have to spend time making calls, getting quotes, reading through reviews.
Handy uses only professionals.
You can really trust the people who are coming into your home.
My secret's out.
Try Handy today. Book your first home cleaning for just $29.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, Hey, I'm bringing booty back.
Visit Honest.com now to get your free trial of Honest diapers and wipes, delivered right to your door. The Honest Company, stylish, safe, and convenient. We've got you covered.
Every inch of you is perfect from the bottom to the top.
Can Bosley regrow your hair? This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Health reform has added significant new benefits to Medicare plans. If you have Medicare Part A, Part B, Part D, or any Medicare Advantage plan, you now get benefits with no copays, no deductibles, and can get dental, vision, and prescription coverage included. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline now to make sure you have all the benefits you're entitled to. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline now to update your plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buffalo. The cost of health insurance and the denial of coverage because of pre-existing conditions has been a serious problem in America. But now the law has changed. Healthcare reform is now available. So many people do not take advantage of the benefits offered to them by healthcare reform because they don't call. Call now.
The Medicare Health Reform Helpline is now accepting calls. Don't miss the deadline. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline.
Call 800-920-2159. That's 800-920-2159. 800-920-2159.
After a 7-year search for the serial arsonist, California investigators finally had a suspect. But the evidence against John Orr, a partial fingerprint, linked him to only one of the fires. So investigators decided to track Orr's whereabouts by planting a device on his car called a teletrack.
The track device itself is about the size of a videotape. It can be installed anywhere in the car.
The teletrack system uses a network of communication towers which transmits signals to the wireless device mounted in the car. In some ways, it's better than ground satellite systems.
The one disadvantage of GPS is that if you're in a garage or if the antenna is blocked from seeing the sky, it's very hard to get a good location. With this technology, we don't need to see the sky.
On November 22nd, 1991, at 3:30 p.m., the teletrack placed Orr near the Warner Brothers studio in Burbank, where a fire broke out on the set of a television show. Interestingly, Orr immediately drove home, then received the official dispatch from headquarters. The dispatcher inadvertently gave the wrong address for the fire.
We can watch him on the teletrack device, leave his house, drive to the first fire location, which was misidentified in the dispatch, but yet he makes it to the right location.
And with that information, we couldn't tie him directly to the cause of that fire, but we knew that we couldn't allow him to be on the street any longer.
With a warrant, investigators searched Orr's home.
We found in his briefcase cigarettes, matches, rubber bands, the type of materials that were used in the device, and we found yellow line paper in his car.
Orr denied that there was anything sinister about the materials, and also denied it was his fingerprint on the incendiary device found at one of the fires.
I've never set an arson fire except in my training exercises.
And investigators found evidence that Orr planned some of the fires long before they happened. On a home video found among Orr's things was a close-up of a beautiful hillside home in California. There's footage of the same house 18 months later on fire.
He had what we call before and after shots of the fire, and shots actually as the fire was being perpetrated before any fire companies could arrive.
Other people said that he photographed the fires so that he could relive the event, for the same reason that serial killers photograph victims, so that they can look at them later and relive the events.
Also confiscated from Orr's home was a manuscript for a book he had written. It was about a fictitious firefighter turned arsonist, Aaron Stiles. The similarities between the book and the real crimes were far too coincidental. The Styles character used delayed devices to set fires in retail stores while on his way to and from arson conferences.
He discussed how he set multiple fires at the same time in order to distract firefighting personnel to one location to the other so he could sit and watch one of the other fires become rather large.
And the book describes a fire at a Cal's hardware store similar to the fire in South Pasadena that killed 4 people. In the novel, one of the dead victims was a young boy named Matthew, the same name of the 2-year-old who died in the real fire.
The deaths were blotted out of his mind. It wasn't his fault, just stupid people acting as stupid people do.
Joseph Wanbaugh wrote a book about this case called Fire Lover.
I think John Ord does a better job than anyone in describing the psyche of the organized serial arsonist. The power, the excitement, the thrill that motivates these people. In his novel, Points of Origin, he has his arson investigator explain it like this. The fire becomes a mistress, a lover. From those words of John Orr, I got my title, Fire Lover. As I thought about it, my mistress, my lover, the fire.
John Orr was charged with numerous counts of arson and for the murder of the 4 victims of the Oldies fire.
We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant, John Leonard Orr, guilty of the crime of first-degree murder in violation of Penal Code Section.
He was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
For the 10 years prior to John's arrest, there were an average of 67 brush fires per year in the hills above Glendale, Burbank, Pasadena, major fires. And after John's arrest, the average number of fires in that same area dropped from 67 to 1.
Well, it's my opinion that he set in excess of 2,000 fires over a period of about 30 years.
John Orr is believed to be one of the 20th century's most prolific arsonists. His long career brought to an end by a scrap of charred paper and the relentless work of investigators.